Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and today we're going to be taking a look at my first of the Asus Republic of Gamers boards. It's going to be the Maximus VII Hero. I'm going to have to keep reminding myself to say 7 because you wouldn't believe the amount it takes. I've said 6. Anyway, so I'm going to be taking a look at the Maximus VII Hero. Right from the very beginning, if you want to go and have a look at the main review, click the link below. You can see all the screenshots, all the benchmarks, all the frames per second stuff, in the graphs, all lovely bubbly. And where we've changed our review kit, what we've done, where we've moved graphics cards and stuff, we're starting with fresh graphs. So this is the Z97 stuff compared. Obviously when the Devil's Canyon CPUs do finally come out, we will add those in as well. So you'll get a mix of Haswell and Devil's Canyon. So, you know, fingers crossed it should all pan out again in the, pan out in the long run. Now I have done a preview of this where we had, a really good look around the board and spoke about the features and looked at some slides and stuff. So I'll stick a link for the video up somewhere. So if you seriously considering this as a purchase, then please go and take a look at that. We will be taking a look around the system, and I have, for glory's sake, although not for testing sake, got the Asus Matrix GTX 780 Ti in there. But we're going to concentrate most on performance and stuff, and a little bit on aesthetics, but not as much as we would normally do, and a rather meaty conclusion. So for want, I'm just going to be quiet and I'm going to bring you in for a better look. Okay then, peeps. So this is the test system. Now, people have asked a few times about the case, and it's a Corsair 540 Air that I've customised. It's just a custom rig. I wanted to have something different for the reviews because obviously I use all the standard stuff all the time. So with the stuff that I have to use more regularly, it's just something slightly different. You can look the video up if you're interested. Custom floor, custom graphics, that type of stuff. Anyway, so we have the Maximus Hero in there. We've got a H105 for cooling. The fans are all AF 120s. AF white LEDs. We've got 140s in the front and in the back, and 120s on the roof. Now people say, why am I using those? It was more because of the white light, so everything is well lit, and as you can see, it does look fairly bright in there. Asus Matrix Platinum GTX 780 for a graphics card, and then the memory that's in there is Vengeance Pro, but that's 2933 sticks, which I will get to in a minute. Now you can see that the motherboard is a bloody good looking board, but what we'll do is I'm just going to show you the Supreme FX down that bottom corner. Now even with it all lit up like this, you can see the trail around the outside. They've got jack caps on it. The audio, I've tested it with SP 2500 Corsair stuff. It's actually very good. It's pretty much, to levels where, short of buying a proper dedicated full-on graphics card, you can't really expect much more. And the audio levels on motherboards come on in leaps and bounds over the last few years, and this is it's very, very good quality stuff on there. Now if we move over, you can see the heatsink. Now yes, that is lit up and it does look the gonads. I really, really like it. It's a nice design on there. You can see the red LEDs, and it kind of goes through the acrylic. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull the switch on my LEDs just so that you can see it that little bit better there. It's a really nice touch. But what you can also see is the red on the actual PCB itself, and that goes above the graphics card and goes up there, so you've got a nice bit of colour and touch. I love the way my camera is so clear now. This is, apart from the tripod, but it's my mum's one, so don't say anything being a little bit sticky. It's so nice. Anyway, so we can go up there and you can actually see the red again to the right of the heatsink. I love that little hero bit. It's like, oh yeah, that's nice. I'm actually going to take a photo of that. Bing. Thank you. Right, and there's red up around the tops of the heat sinks as well. You can see there. But we are fairly zoomed in. Now, you can see the two gold caps there. That's here on her. That's gold plate. It's not caps, it's gold plated chokes. There are those around the heat sinks as well, and I can't really get a very good angle for you to show you, but they are in there, I promise you. Normally I've got like a torch I can highlight them with, but they're just, it's not, I can see them with my naked eye, but it's just a tiny little bit too shadowy for the camera. But the talking of the camera, I can't kind of stress enough how clear everything looks with this. Let's take another photo. Thank you. And yes, I am actually tapping the screens. But anyway, we're meant to be reviewing this board. So I think you can agree. I mean, it's going to be 179 quid. I've obviously not built this rig to be a ROG rig or anything. We've just got a motherboard and a graphics card in there, and it's the same, setup that we're using for all of the rest of the reviews. And it does look so nice, and it's the classic thing that I say about white LEDs, as far as I'm concerned, are the best idea in a case, because then it brings up your little accent colours, which obviously ours is going to be red, and I think it works rather well. But anyway, so that's the looks. Now, other things to talk about. They spent a lot of time on the LAN with this. It's Intel LAN, which is just, as far as I'm concerned, that's the best one that you can possibly have. But there's like electrostatic shielding on the LAN back here. They've gone to great lengths, and also they've got some packet shaping that they can do to help with your gaming, to make sure that you can turn it on, so it's very gaming specific stuff that flies through. There are things that you can install as well, software wise, but to be fair, I've run this with what I would call basic drivers, and I was more than happy with it. Down here we've got a soundstage button which you can press. Now, the reason why there's a button for audio equalizers outside, that's because if you're running something like Steam OS or maybe a Mac or Linux, maybe something that's not officially covered with drivers, you can actually go through the equalizers and hit that button, and it will do it on a hardware level rather than on a software level. Next button next to it is clear CMOS. We all know what those do. But then up here we do have, there's a very kind of, do need to sort this tripod out. It's very ROG, that button. I swear they use this button on bloody everything. But you've got the poster readout there, reset button, and that's your keybot button. There's a bit of software that you can install, and that will actually, you can manually set what each of the F keys do on your keyboard. So you can essentially make custom macros up, launch programs, all kinds of different stuff, and that's all manually set that you can do and that's the little button to enable it there. I would seriously, if you end up buying this board or you're interested in that, give it a look, because I think that, I might not personally use it, but I think loads of you out there would find that really, really useful. Also, we come down here, you can see the M.2 slot. We've not been able to test this yet because there are next to no M.2 decent SSDs about, but it is something that I'm going to be testing in the not too distant future. The Maximus, on just out of shot, does have a SATA Express port as well. Now, I have got a SATA Express, what have I got? I've got a SATA Express Asus SSD, but we've not had a chance to get this tested because we want to cover a few of the boards and stuff. But it will be something that we will be doing as a stock thing for the Devil's Canyon reviews. So when we do come back to it, it will get covered. Probably will end up with this board doing a standalone review stroke video about the SATA Express throughput anyway, because Asus have spent a lot of time with Intel making sure that everything on a hardware level is as good as it can be, and it's meant to be ridiculously well optimized. Obviously I'm saying that in bunny ears because I can't confirm it, but that's the type of stuff that I'm hearing from Asus. Also, around and about the board, if you want to have a look, there are loads of fan slots and stuff like that if you want to use it. It's not something that I have though, but also this will all tally up and run all lovely with the Asus front base, which we've reviewed as well. So that's something you should definitely have a look at too, because that's brilliant. I used it on the motherboard test rig. In fact, it's still in there and it won't be coming out. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is we're going to move on to have a look at some of the BIOS stuff, and then obviously go into overclocking and stuff as well, because this has a few little surprises up its sleeve. Okay then people, so just a quick look at the BIOS. Now my settings are going to be visible, but please, for the love of God, don't copy them, because I have got the dream chip of dream chips, and they just, I would be very surprised if they will work for you. And also, one of the things I always say is when it comes to CPUs, you're actually better off learning what your CPU can do versus just copying somebody else, because when things go wrong, and believe me they do on a regular basis, you ain't going to have a clue what's going wrong, because you're not going to put the time in to learn how your system reacts. But anyway, I say that every bloody time, so I'm not going to do it now. Surprisingly, I've got XMP enabled. Now I've left this all just the way it is for the minute, and you'll see why in a little minute, but some of these numbers up here should be a little bit of an eye-opener for what's going to be coming later on in the review. But if we go and have a look around the BIOS itself, it's very Asus kind of leave the layout relatively the same, and it does feel very homely. You get used to it. I actually really like the Asus BIOS. It's probably out of all the manufacturers the one that I enjoy using the most, because it's just there. You don't have to go looking for stuff. So you've got all the options that you could possibly want, but also when we get down to volts, there's a lot of stuff in there that you may not want, and kind of like, well, what? And just there is a lot of extra stuff that you can fiddle and play around with, and the extreme tweakers and stuff. It's just, there's loads of bits and bobs in there that you can just have a field day with. Now this is slightly over, because I normally set mine to 1.26, but I needed a little bit more of a voltage bump, because I'm actually running my DRAM at nearly 3000 megahertz, and that's with the 4.9 gigahertz already in play as well. This is basically what I did. It's all I've done is enabled XMP, and it was a little bit iffy, so I bumped the CPU vCore up just a notch, and 4.9 gigahertz with 2933 memory flew in. Now the thing with that being a surprise for me is this is the first time I've ever got this running, and I tried it on the Z97A. We got it running with a single stick. Tried it on the MSI M-Power. We got it running with a single stick, just about, but it was nowhere near stable. But we did manage to get 28. This with our maximum overclock, we've got 2933 not only running with 2 sticks, but it's stable with 2 sticks as well. It was a proper jaw-dropping moment. And for a screenshot, this board has actually managed to get me to 5 gigahertz, which is the screenshot I'm going to show you now with all the memory in play, because it was, for me, don't forget, I work with a lot of these things, so I'll get used to it. My jaw was on the floor. Not only that we had 5, but that memory was still there as well. It was a proper gobsmacker. So I'm just going to stop the camera, and I'm going to take you and show you the screenshot. I already know there's people out there going, screenshot? Yeah, that's not stable. The bloke's having a laugh. So, oh, come on camera, wake up. So I thought I would just do it on here now. Now, the 5 gigahertz itself isn't like bench stable, but I don't particularly care, because to be able to tie those kind of numbers in together is ridiculous. I could probably get it stable if I wanted to put a bit of time in. You can see that to get it, we're booting in at 1.28 volts. But like I said, if I wanted to, probably if I went up the voltages, I don't like going above 1.3, and it wasn't stable at 1.3, but it was getting there. It was only a couple of benchmarks it was falling over on. But I reckon if I really wanted to put the effort in, it would probably be alright. But like I said, I don't like pushing my volts up that far, because this is a CPU that I need to use for reviews and stuff. Once the Devil's Canyon stuff comes out, I may end up, trying to send it to Silicon Heaven or something. But the fact of the matter is, that's 5 gigahertz with 2933 memory. Dual channel, not single channel, as we've done with some of the other videos, and it's all in, and we're in the desktop. Yes, it probably won't last 5 minutes if I opened up OCCT. It doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't matter to me. That running is just a proper little jaw yeah, that. So when it comes to 3D results, if you want to go and have a look at the games and stuff like that, then you can do. You can click the link in the bottom left hand corner of the video, and you can go and compare everything. But what we're going to do now is we'll actually, I'm going to stick this back to what I would call my my bench settings, which will be 4.9 gigahertz, 2400 megahertz memory, all that kind of stuff, and I'll just show you a couple of the results. Okie dokie then. So 4.9 gigahertz, 2400 megahertz memory. Yes, it's a big CPU overclock, but the memory itself, every CPU will be able to do that. With a 780 Ti, 5530 on Firestrike X. I mean, 5000 is a big score, but pushing that a little bit further with a single graphics card, the graphics card's underclocked rather than overclocked. It's an absolute little arse raper, really. That's a brilliant score. Quick 3D Mark 11. 5782, getting up near that kind of threshold 5800. It's very rarely that we've ever managed to break that with stock cards and stuff. But anyway, obviously the 3D results are going to be very similar throughout the stuff, because we're all, because we're using the same card. But it's just, I know a lot of you can use this to compare to your own system. So what I'm now going to do is say that if you want to look at any of the memory results, the memory bandwidth, memory speed, anything like that, any of the other results, because obviously we do things like Cinebench and POV and all those type of things, make sure that you go and take a look on the OC3D website. But I'm going to stop wasting your time and now move on to a conclusion and my thoughts about the Maximus Hero. Okay then, so conclusion time, and up first the award, and to be fair, without a doubt, and I mean literally without a doubt, a gold award. The fact that it's 170 quid, awesome, because it stayed around the price that the old Hero was when that was first released, but we've obviously got, as far as I'm concerned, a much better looking board. Straight out the packet, it's already performing better, and we've not even got any new BIOS refreshes. I mean, the kind of numbers that this thing has put out already has properly dropped my jaw. I didn't think I had 2933 in dual channel in my CPU, even at stock. So the fact that it's managed to boot into the OS at 5 gigahertz at decent volts with 2933 enabled is just mind-blowing. Now, we had heard that the Z97 stuff was going to bring much higher memory frequencies, so to say that I'm excited to see what Devil's Canyon can actually bring, to see if there is a much stronger memory controller and all that kind of stuff in there, then do you know what I mean? I really am looking forward to seeing what we can do here. I know there are people now saying, well, these reviews are almost pointless because we're all going to wait and just buy a Devil's Canyon CPU anyway. And you know what I mean, to be fair enough. But these are the early reviews for you. This is to give you a little bit of a taster. Maybe you're going to want to buy one of these early and then get a CPU as soon as they come out. I don't particularly know, but I can only kind of comment on the stuff that I've done and tested. And the overclocking, I can't stress how painless and easy it was. Now, I know I've been doing this a long time and I do know my way around a BIOS, and if it starts to act up, I can generally, just by the way it does it, almost feel what's wrong with it. You can work things out relatively easy and you do get a feel for it. This was just so easy to work with, it was unreal. When it come to testing the 2933, I had my 4.9 gigahertz in, and I literally just changed memory sticks, got into the BIOS, flicked XMP on, and then, unlike the old days when XMP would then stick your CPU to stock and just put the memory on, what this does now is it does just go, okay, and it just puts the memory settings in for you. And then it booted first time, and it was a little bit, it wasn't 100% stable. I just boosted those the CPU volts up a little bit, because let's face it, we had an immense overclock in play already, and it made it 100% stable. It was like I said, it was so easy. So it's very easy to work with. It's a great looking board, borderline, I would say, as far as Asus's launch designs go, this is probably the best ROG package that I've seen for a while. And a great price really, because you know the ROG stuff can be very, very expensive. And as of yet, out of all of the Z97 stuff I've done, and I know there might not be a lot on the channel, but there's an chuffing great big pile of stuff here. Out of the ones that I've tested so far, this has been like faultless compared to the others and really easy to work with. So at this present moment in time, at the point of going live with the video, this is my favourite, you know, kind of launch board. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing the stuff that, you know, can possibly come out in the future. But yeah, aesthetics, absolutely love it. Performance is there in droves, and it's dead simple to use as well. One thing I would say though is don't use auto volts for your CPU. If you're buying one of these boards, put the time in to learn it yourself, please. I've done enough guides and stuff and overclocking and all that type of stuff. And so when I've got some stuff that I'm planning to do with the ROG stuff moving forward as well anyway. But yeah, please get on the forums and learn how to do it properly, because you'll get much more out of using your system. It's much more rewarding, because don't forget, the thing that we want to do is have a stable overclock, but really it's the lowest volts. That's the thing people really care about. It's not, oh, I got 5 gigahertz and I'm using 1.9 volts. People will just laugh at you. If you turn around and say I got 5 gigahertz and I'm only running 1.28 volts, that is when you'll start to earn fellow, you know, forum members respect and stuff. And you know, that's your EPing level really there is the lowest volts. But I'm not going to whittle round anymore. I've loved this, which is why I've kind of pushed through and got it done quickly. But yeah, for now at least, this is Tiny Tom Logan with the Asus Republic of Gamers Hero Gold Award winning board out. Ding!